begin again. I've been here where the air goes thin. Saw what happens when you try to win. Better stay where the walls don't move. Nothing left that you have to prove. I don't push, I pull you close till you forget what you wanted most. It's just the way of the world. Down in the dirt where the flowers bloom. It's just the way of the world. You'll feel the power of an empty room. It's just the way of the world. Just wait a moment and we'll start again. You are the enemy of my friend, my friend, my friend, my friend. Take my hand, feel the current slow.
All right, check. We're getting there. I think the chat should be up on there, but I don't see it yet. We'll get it working. Always something.
I don't lie, I just dim the flame. Give your hunger another name. Call it calm, call it letting go. Call it all that you'll never know. If you don't raise, you don't fall apart. That's the safest way to break up. It's just the way of the world. Down in the dirt where the flowers bloom. It's just the way of the world. You'll feel the power of an empty room. It's just the way of the world.
All right.
Just wait a moment and we'll start again. You are the enemy of my friend, my friend, my friend, my friend.
All right, we're getting close.
Stay down, stay near me.
Hit the like, share the show. Be up in about 20 seconds.
Stay down, stay small, I'm nothing.
You should send that to me. I'd love to play that on my podcast.
Absolutely.
Indie music.
Please.
Took me out of commercials. So.
I'll send you a whole, and I'll whitelist your channel so that you don't get a ding.
Yes, thank you for doing that. That's very
Yes.
important.
Here we go.
It's just the way of the world. That's what I say when you start to move. It's just the way of the world. I need you with some.
Yeah, they hear Bob Seska's voice in the background. They know you're coming. There we go.
Take a step. You can't defend. You are the enemy. My friend, my friend, my friend. If you rise in a mess up here, if you try, got nothing here.
Okay, hold on. I have to pause. The song will go into the extended dance remix, and we'll never get to the show. And then our dear friend Bob Seska and I will just spend our entire time rocking out instead of actually having a conversation. Welcome to the show, Bob Seska. It's so good to have you here,
Thank
my
you.
friend. Yeah,
Thank you, my friend.
and so much to talk about. Unfortunately for both of us, you and I, I think we're blessed, if I may say so, my damn self, with alternate interests away from the fire hose of news. In that, both on a pop culture sense, but in just sort of discussing music and television and film and books and those kind of things, and the sort of art and cultural aspect of humanity and all the fun that goes with that. You and I, we could fall back on that and be damn interesting on one of the, on our own show, even without this ridiculous torrent monstrosity of ridiculousness that we are facing every day.
Yeah, we're
So yeah,
diversifying. Yeah, we're
yeah,
diversifying our gabbing is what's
yeah,
happening. That's one of the
exactly.
reasons why Mary Trump and I started Trek Politics, just in case they started banning liberal podcasters. We had a place to land,
Right.
even though we
That's right.
still try to politicize the goddamn thing.
Well, that's
You
also,
know,
like,
still.
it's one of those wink and the nod things like, no, this is not a magazine of the French resistance. It is all about escargot. You just happen to notice that the shells kind of have a German name and the escargot
Mhm.
itself, and the butter are the French and the English. So this is an allegory you are seeing, my friend. It is just a simple cooking magazine we are putting together. It is not an underground communication device at all. And I
That's right.
we're almost at that point. Although
Mhm.
I I've been saying for a while that there's not a lot left for maggots to defend right now. And I'm sure, I mean, you have seen the Alex Jones turn, Dave Smith and Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn suddenly going, I had, did you? I had no idea. This is so strange that Trump would
Yep.
act this way, right? What have you noticed amongst that world? I'm sure, some of them, we all track a different angle of this
Oh, yeah.
crowd.
Right. I mean, I quibble with that. I think it was a Washington Post poll, but which CNN's Harry Enton mentioned, and Donald keeps bragging about it for some reason because he obviously thinks that his supporters are just as big a dummy as he is. But he's talking about this poll where, yeah, it was a Washington Post poll. Harry Enton reported on it where Donald Trump has 100% support among people who love Donald Trump, which makes no
Right.
god. Well, I mean, it makes every bit of sense in the
And
world because. Yeah.
yeah, an ever narrowing category. So again, the definition of MAGA, if everybody's jumping ship, then you're only ever, if you're asking somebody and they still say they're MAGA, that means they're still MAGA even with all this crap. So that
That's
means
right.
these people are hella committed to this absurdity, right? And
Mhm.
and those people will be even more nuts than people who may have called themselves MAGA before the first Iran strike, for example,
Yeah.
or right after the binders. You know what I mean? There were
Mhm.
people who were taking it on the heel and toe then. So
Yeah. Well, what happens is that people who support Donald Trump identify as MAGA, and then when they're starting to disagree with Donald Trump, they no longer identify as MAGA. So he's always
right.
going to have 100% support among
Yeah.
people who love him, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the entire contingent of people who identified as MAGA 6 months ago or
Right.
in November 2024 and so forth. So it's just a whole lot of bullshit that keeps that
Yeah. I
doddering
don't
old
know.
man satisfied. Yeah.
Yeah, and now, like after the Easter message, so I'm sorry, I'm sure you saw that yesterday, where he said,
Mhm.
I mean, the F bomb wasn't as shocking as the praise be to Allah business.
Yeah.
That,
Right.
like, I gotta tell you, this morning I got up and the what was it? The Glenn Beck, he does his show in hours, and they release the hour right after he does them. He basically does them live. And sometimes I will,
Yeah.
see on a particularly crap news day, I'll see how the turd polishing is going right out of the gate. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like and yes, after that message yesterday. So, uh, the title of this one was, and I'll see if I can show it to you, was here we go. And I got to pop you in here. Beg your pardon. The title of this one was how deciphering. There it is. Deciphering Trump's insane Easter message Iran hour one. That's the title of this
Mhm.
frigging thing, right? Um, and so I expected him to kind of do that. I know,
Yeah.
silly me. I'm a silly person sometimes, and but it's almost that's his gig now. Like there are a couple of them. Benny Johnson's one, where it's clear they are getting White House talking points. Like, look, we need you to help us, you know, get this toothpaste back in the tube, and it's going to
Mhm.
be messy. But here's our idea. If you have a better idea, we're all ears. And so Benny will do the standard fare. Glenn Beck will do the standard fare and another alternative. The way they did it this morning is they never get around to it in the first hour. He spends the first part of the show, the story of I don't know if you can see the titles in this, but the story of the downed fighter, and then it goes, Trump's second Easter tweet doesn't mention it all, goes straight to ad. And then Jason reacts to the pilot rescue. That's his research guy or whatever. And then they, what the president's plan is and blah, blah, blah. And then Jason reads insider comments about this stuff. They skip it entirely. Like and I don't know how else you're supposed to handle it. He F-bombed on Easter. He didn't go to church. He went golfing. They have the Easter roll today.
Yeah, which is weird.
And turned it into an egg farmer ass kissing gathering. He's like, we got like 30,000 egg farmers. They're all coming by today. Eggs are doing great. They wanted me to use plastic eggs last year. I said, no, we're using real eggs. I'm like, yeah, asshole, we're sure you can afford it. That's not the problem. You buy so many eggs, you would drive up the price in the DC area.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I have a theory. I have a theory about that Troth that he posted on Truth Central, the one we're talking about.
Truth sinkhole.
It reminded me kind of the way we used to do things when I was doing my sketch comedy show, where we would have to submit all of our sketches to the network for approval.
Right.
And so it's the standard thing that every comedy writer ever does, which is you put something in there you really don't want, but which is really obnoxious to get them looking at that obnoxious thing. And then they're missing the thing that you actually want in there. And so this was Donald threw in fucking in the middle of that troth. So everyone's talking about him saying fucking on Easter Sunday. Right. But no one else, I mean, very few people are talking about the broader danger of what he posted, which is upping the ante, the escalation trap, and so forth. Just completely getting drawn in to a massive quagmire in the Middle East.
Well, and I've said one of the reasons why we have, he's always like, other presidents didn't have the guts to do this. Okay, one of the reasons is it's not about guts, is that they weren't stupid enough to not recognize that there's no easy, short, quick, shock and awe, early Gulf War way of doing this. Period. If there's a recipe for quagmire, it is Iran. It isn't even Iraq. It isn't even Afghanistan. Part of the travesty of those wars was that they didn't have to be 20-year wars. The goals had been accomplished in Afghanistan. You could have bugged out. The same thing with Iraq. Like once they were establishing a new government, we leave. That was, but we stuck around because of a myriad of things, not the least of which the oil interests and other stuff. But and Obama, Biden worked to get us off the oil tit so that we could move on. And Trump undoes that, gets us right back into this situation where the biggest game in town is Iran. And they either have the oil supply that competes with our allies in the area, namely Saudi Arabia and the UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, and the natural gas coming from Qatar, and again, siding with the Russians in that regard. But that's where that split is. And with them out of the game, there's also a safety aspect for the rest of the Middle East. So as much as Israel has tactical desire for, Iran to be out of the game for an obvious reason, missiles pointed at them, death to Israel, death to America, blah, blah, blah. That's been around for a long time. The rest of the Middle East has a glass ceiling on its growth, and it knows it because there's always that chance that Iran will do exactly what it's doing right now, because it's Sunni versus Shia, and this is it. And you're not going to build a business that lasts where its core offices are in Dubai unless there's no longer this threat of, this Sunni Shia war hanging over it. It will always be a hang on it and always has. Yep. And for them to have the line city and turn it into a tourist destination after the death of oil in 2030, 2040, whatever their plan is, because it's different for the UAE and Saudi Arabia. If they don't do that, if the Iran threat isn't gone, that plan can't work. And so they have as much in this as as anybody else. Now, the answer obviously is speed up the end of oil. The Saudis can't be in on that. They can't be. They need it to buy themselves out of this hole they've dug for themselves. So it's really, the last phone call that Trump got that said, "Go ahead, we're all right with this," was not from Netanyahu. It was from MBS.
Yes,
And right,
absolutely.
and so people and they're more than happy for us and Israel to have a bullseye on our back for the next 2 decades.
Exactly.
So
And that's exactly what's going to happen. I mean, not just 2
exactly, yeah,
decades, but we're talking about 5 decades, because revenge is usually a dish best served cold when it
Yep,
comes to, terrorism, blowback, and so forth. This is not something
right,
that happens immediately. And Donald Trump doesn't think the second effect of events doesn't really occur to him. He's always looking at what's just in front of his head.
right.
He can't think on any other terms. He can't think in any other dimension. That's why
That's right.
that's why every single previous president hasn't employed shrieking indiscriminately at enemies as part of their
Right,
foreign policy. But he thinks he knows better than all those damn chumps. So he's
right,
doing something like, wow, look at this. I'm a genius. I came up with shrieking indiscriminately at enemies, as though that's something that's going to work, that is operational foreign policy. And
right.
it's absolutely not. And we're going to see the repercussions of that. But he doesn't care about the repercussions, because
No.
someone
Well, they're
else's
not going to happen
problem.
when he's
Someone else is
there.
going to have to
Right.
clean up his mess. Yeah.
Exactly. And he's cashing out. We
Mhm.
had a question from Angela. Hello, boys. What's the over under on nuclear war tomorrow? The nightmare I had about a year ago matches this exactly so far, except Trump isn't being dragged away screaming. This is not my fault, not yet. I don't think it goes there, and I do think that is the one trigger point for the 25th Amendment. I think there
Yeah.
are a bunch of people, Susie Wiles, maybe even Vance and stuff, that are definitely around him. I don't know if you saw any of the Easter's shenanigans this morning, but he was
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
woof. Okay, so he freeballed the speech,
Mhm.
right? And he was like, "We're doing so good, and they're gonna totally destroy it, and Happy Easter," and he's got the Easter bunny next to him while he was like, you know, we're the hottest country in the world, and all this stuff. And then he walks down the
Mhm.
steps and he's counting the steps. I don't know if you saw that, but when he and Melania are walking down, there's no banister there for him to grab on because it's all wrapped with garland and whatever for the holiday. So he can't reach
Yeah.
out for the banister like he does. And he's going, and he stops at the landing and he waves at
Wow.
everybody. And then he looks down and she catches him counting and kind of shakes his hand a little bit. Then when they get downstairs, they're supposed to play one song for him. It's clear. They've got some sort of arrangement. They've got this situation. And the idea is, and they even say, and the president's own Marine band will blah, 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 and, play these things. And so he stands down there with Melania, and then they're playing one song, and it's clear that he's supposed to walk down like a marriage procession, him
Mhm.
and his wife. And then the families will come down with the Easter bunny, and they come down for the next song and then walk to the side. He starts wandering back and forth, and he's telling the band leader, keep playing, because the idea is they're not. And then you can see somebody going, oh shit, he's not going. Everybody go down. Everybody go down. And then they send down them and the Easter bunny, and they're all standing there for another song. And then he's like that to the band leader. To the
It's such a
band
great
leader.
allegory for the Iran war. It's
It's
such
exactly
a
that.
perfect metaphor for what
It's
is
so
happening.
brutally embarrassing. And so he goes, I like people don't need to watch it, but you can go and just thumb through those moments because it's rough. And then he starts talking to the band leader while the guy's conducting, like I don't know what the hell he's saying, like play Ave Maria. Like at some point, I just
Play
don't know.
YMCA. Do you know
That's right.
YMCA?
Yeah. Do you
And
guys?
a one and
Yeah.
a two. Give me a C, a
Yeah.
bouncy
That's right.
C.
Do you guys know anything from the 70s, late 70s, Quaaludes era?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it was and you can tell he does I guess the sort of the worst remember when Joe Biden goes up on stage and his wife and his sister are opposite sides of the stage.
Mhm.
And he's like, "Where's my wife? Or where's his sister?" Okay, okay, there they are, like that. He just does it that quick. Like they're gonna be on this side. They were on opposite sides, like stage left, stage right, whatever the issue was. And he goes, "My wife,"
Mhm.
and he goes, "Oh, it's my sister." My wife, like he does basically that. And they're
Of
like, "He
course,
can't
yeah.
tell his wife from his sister," right? Remember that business?
Yeah.
So Trump is, where is the first lady? Where is our first lady? She walked up there with him. She was holding hands and walked out of the door together. It was like,
Oh my
okay.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they want desperately to like call it, within the administration.
Yeah, they do. He's looking for an out clause. That's why there's all this bullshit about some form of negotiations between Witkoff and the foreign minister of Iran via Pakistan, which is all
Right.
just horse shit. Donald Trump's just looking for some kind of shred of a pretext that he can build off. Because, you give him an inch, he takes a mile. He has
By
a
the
little
dawn.
thing that he
Hold-
turns into
Right.
turns
Hold on
into
one
a
second. Keep going.
massive
Yeah.
bragging right. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So, but
So
yeah,
also- he has this it's stunning. I want to okay, let me show you a moment if I may. This is just for like I was asking. Okay, so let's standard kind of Trump fare.
okay.
He's doing this, he's doing the whole, we're doing magic, we're so great, we're the greatest country with the hotness. Enemy strong, not so long as strong as they were. He goes, it's easier war if they're weak, but they're strong, but not so strong as they were a month ago. I can tell you that, and blah blah blah. And then he runs out of stuff to say, and he goes, "Oh, look, there's a lot of fake news here, that whole shit," and like the standard thing. And then the Easter Bunny stand there, and then he goes, it was a big
Great
thing.
First Lady, who's here someplace. Let's see. I think this is our First Lady. What do you?
Oh God. She's behind me, isn't she?
She walked out with him. Like he does the whole, like, I think she's here someplace. And then he tries to, like, there's a lot of like ticket, like just tap dance to cover the fact
But
he
also
didn't know
maybe
she
he
was
just
there.
turned and goes, "Who are you?"
Right? Yeah, yeah. What have you done with
First Lady?
fake Melania number 3 or whatever? So
That's
yeah,
right.
More than 40,000 eggs supplied by all of the great egg farmers that are with us. So eggs is a big thing, and it was a big thing to our great First Lady, who's here someplace. Let's see. I think this is our First Lady. What do you think of our First Lady? She's a movie star. I don't know. Do we call her First?
just
Oh my God! Yes, if you know anything about Melania, she loves eggs. The incredible
Right.
edible egg.
she's been, it's a big part of what she's been. We are trying to, eggs best is our new thing we are doing. Eggland's best is our, is part of our Be Best campaigns, and shit. Okay, then she's
loves
not
eggs if you know anything.
Yeah, if you know anything about the water lady, she's big on eggs, right? And this was, by the way, we've got a bunch of egg farmers here. It's why they delayed it a day. Like, bring out the eggs farmers so I can claim that eggs are cheaper right now, which they aren't, right? But just watch this again real quick.
With us. So eggs is a big thing, and it was a big thing to our great First Lady, who's here someplace. Let's see. I think this is our First Lady. What do you think of our First Lady? She's a movie star. I don't know. Do we call her First Lady or a movie star? She has the biggest movie. Can you believe this? And she deserves
That's what
it.
I mean.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
and no, she doesn't. But
Right.
okay,
They
she's
bulk
not
purchase tickets, and that means that she's a movie
Right.
star. See, Give him
Absolutely.
an inch, he takes a mile.
That's right. And in this one, it's like, I mean, it's just beyond dumb. Like, he's just run out of shit to say. He's like, and she does not have planned remarks, clearly. Like, she wasn't supposed to speak. He's putting her on the spot, and she's like, "Oh, happy Easter."
Would you like to say a couple of words to your friends?
No.
To your friends, the egg farmers?
You love eggs,
You're
and these are egg farmers,
Yeah,
so you
you're
must
a
be
woman.
friends.
I think I remember something from 9th grade biology. You have eggs, right? Or used to? I don't know
Oh
how
my
this works.
God.
Get me out of here.
That is amazing.
Happy Easter Monday. I hope
Happy Easter Monday. Like, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Just say yeah. There's no
Oh,
such thing as
God.
Easter Monday. What did we have? Palm Saturday? What, what do you have?
That's
Did I
right.
miss Good
Holy God.
Wednesday?
Mm.
You enjoy this beautiful day. We are celebrating a very special Easter egg roll this year because it's 200.
Yeah, she's got the egg rolls. They ordered enough for everybody, I think. They're very crispy. They have they're like, there's veggie ones and then there's chicken egg rolls. So you want like one from column A, one from column
Yeah.
B.
Today is the
50.
Easter egg roll, and yesterday was the Easter aggro, according to Donald Trump's
Right.
post on
Yeah, the
Central.
stitch pop, the traditional psychotic stitch pop.
Birthday of this beautiful nation. Enjoy it, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Really awesome. I feel really connected and stuff. Praise Jesus and pass the mashed potatoes.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, honey. And she worked very hard with her staff and the staff of the White House on really just making it nice. This is the nicest I've ever seen it. So this is my fifth, and I will say that it gets better every time, right? It gets better every time.
No, I think the third one was better. I don't like, okay, the other thing.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the first one. You know,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
you Johnny
right.
come latelys like the second one, but I was on board with the Easter egg roll
Yeah.
of the first
Yeah.
year of Donald Trump's presidency. So
Some element of them gets better every year. And then he does this thing about the fences, the little picket fences they stick out there, that he wants you to think they're all new little white picket fences, which, by the way, he uses to separate himself from the guests.
mhm.
I've never seen a picket fence wall between the president and the guests at the egg roll where
Mhm.
they've got him cordoned off like this in my life.
You notice
Yeah.
the
And the
fencing
top-
is all brand new.
Right.
I said, we could have bought used fencing and saved a lot of money. They said, this is for Easter, and this is for our egg farmers, and we're going to get new fencing. Everything's new and everything's beautiful, and the White House never looked better.
Jesus. Okay. Then one more thing, and I got it. Okay, so this is he meets with the the other thing, like they finish, he walks over the wrong way. He goes that way. His family is over the other his family's over here. He starts going this way. And they're like, this way. Okay. And then there's Tiffany and her husband and the baby and whatever. Ivanka and Jared are not there. It's and neither is Don Jr. It's Eric and Tiffany. It's the B team. And so they talk about this. Now, what's supposed to happen clearly is they go down first, and then the family and the Easter Bunny come down, and they walk forward first, and all this kind of stuff. So watch Trump as he goes down the steps. There you go. And he's like, hi, everybody. And then watch his mouth as he's walking down these. I don't know if you can see it. This is further away than the other one, but he's going 2, 3. He's literally he's counting as he goes down. Then they go down here and stand. And they've got the guy who sang the national anthem, who he was like, we need to put him on tour and take a commission because he's a great singer. Like, so odd. And the fencing is here that he's talking about.
Yes.
It's right behind the band leader, right down there. And it's like, and then they play a song and then they just stand there like a bunch of dipshits. And then Trump does this kind of like, psst, wrap it up. They do a whole song like that. He starts chit-chatting. She's like, and she's clearly like, we need to go.
Yeah.
He was supposed to go. She knows. The guy knows. And they're supposed to go. And he just stands there. Okay. Just standing there. Ave Maria. And then he's like, and they start sending the family down. Come on down. We'll all just go together. So they stand there for another song. And then he starts, like, even to the point where he's chit-chatting with the family while it's happening. And then, I don't know why they cut away here or whatever to this business. But he starts, I'll find the other one in a moment. But he starts yammering with the with the band leader while the guy's like, huh?
Like, shut the fuck up.
Um,
God damn it.
ah,
Let me do my
it's
goddamn job.
job, right? Yeah, it's so brutal. And so much of this, like, again, we've got so much of this, like, if it were, oh my God, if Joe Biden, right? Oh my God, if
Oh,
Obama. We've been through this
yeah.
shit so much in the past. Hold on, pardon the
Would you
audio
like-
on this one for a second. They go down here, and then I'll see if I can the part where he's just kind of yammering with the guy, but they cut okay, yeah, they cut it out. They like jumped the feed at this point
Oh,
because it was
God,
live.
really?
Yeah, live. Because they've been doing that a lot too. They've been either cutting press or saying, if you got this, if we give you this, that means don't
Yeah.
show this part again. And especially after his Easter Paula White thing with the little, where he
Right.
was like reading off the back of the American Eagle, like this bizarre gold, Nazi podium idea that he just loves so much.
Wow. Yeah.
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 So and I think we're at our 8th deadline for Iran now in the last
Mhm.
week, right?
Yeah.
Because it's tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Right? Is that Tuesday 8 p.m. Eastern? So 5
right.
my time, right? So, if Iran doesn't do that, we're bombing every electric plant in the country. We're going full Putin, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like that's a very real possibility, although I don't know anymore
Right.
with this shit. I mean, who the fuck knows? And I think that's part of I think that's what he thinks is passing for clever foreign policy in this case, where it's just the madman theory of foreign policy, where, oh, you don't know whether I'm going to zig or I'm going to zag because I'm
Right.
crazy. And look at me go. I'm going to bomb you back to the Stone Age, but I might not, but I might not.
That's why
And
I
so
hired John
he
Bolton.
thinks, yeah. And of course, we're talking about leadership in Iran that is, by the way, still intact, and which is also going, yeah, you know what? We've been down this road. We can hold out for as long as you need us to hold out. We don't care what you're doing. We're just going to stand our ground. We're going to keep the strait closed. You're going to be screwed as far as that, all that
Right.
bottleneck that's happening down there. And so he's trying, as I said before, he's trying to reach that place where he gets some sort of shred of positive news, and then we'll just somehow declare victory, thinking that's going to be the end of it, and it's not going to be the end of it. But I want to real quick. I want to go back to that question about the use of nuclear weapons, and one of the things I've been thinking about is the possibility of him using battlefield nukes, low yield nuclear weapons,
tactical, right?
or more precise targeting, and the fact that I wonder if we'll even know if there will be certainly reports that if we use battlefield nukes, that's what happened. But the White House, I'm sure, will deny it or do some kind of non-denial denial and try to masquerade as though they didn't use nukes when in fact they did. It's impossible to know what the hell is going on from moment to moment to moment, because obviously they're lying about what's happening in this war. It's not going as well as they claim it's going. And so, it's just it's a disaster. It's a slow motion disaster. And we have no idea what the reality is.
It's a really great point you make there, because my concern is that when you create a mythology around biological weapons or nuclear weapons or weapons of mass destruction of any sort, it can help you, like in Syria, for example, when Assad was using chemical weapons, all you got to do is claim the other side has chemical weapons and then blow up one of their sites when you drop your chemical weapon, and you can go, we didn't drop those chemical weapons. That's dispersal from their site. The nuclear dust idea allows, a post-war radiation reading to go, well, there's nuclear material here. And like, well, that wasn't us. We blew up one of their sites. It doesn't even have to exist. You can make it up. And now, because it's this myth that the Iranians have nukes everywhere, and I don't want to give these assholes any ideas, but the Trump administration could largely claim that anywhere they used one of these tactical nukes to try and get one of these deep underground bunkers where the regime more than likely is hiding and operating from right now, they're in a nuclear fallout position, in the same way that if somebody did this to us, the president would be running the country from NORAD, period. Right? They would be, he wouldn't even, they've got a fake White House there that they can make it look like he's at home, but he's not. They'll put a Marine outside, which is exactly what they did all weekend, to pretend he was in the office doing stuff while he was clearly getting medical help. He had, like a Band-Aid on his thumb and fresh stuff on his hand and all that stuff, that after his 4-day lid that he had on the press. So the idea that, and they were like, he's fine. He wasn't at Walter Reed again. There's no show of cars there. Well, like, they can't hide that fact for national security reasons in the middle of the war. Anything they want to hide is for national security reasons. So of course not. Like, there's not a goddamn tunnel to Walter Reed at this point. But anyway, when they do it overtly because you don't want to be caught, they drive him there or fly him there. And then if you need, there's other ways to shuttle him there through other buildings and other stuff if he need to on the down low. The same thing is true of, like, if the president is operating from NORAD because there's a real nuclear threat. We've had this since the Cold War. Yeah. So, Reagan had that ability there, and there's no sign that any president ever gave an address from that fake Oval Office that's at NORAD in wherever, the one in Wyoming or the one that's in War Games, but they definitely can. And let me be clear, they would be stupid not to. Like, all of these things are smart, but when you're using them as just kind of a fallback cover for a failing, demented lunatic, that's the scary part among the many other scary parts. Here's my question. If I've had Doc Adam on my show. I don't know if you've had any of the people who've talked on your show about, talked about Trump's physical and mental state. But there's clearly a drop off. He is ferociously sundowning. He is not getting any sleep, and they are still bragging about it. The over under on it is 3 to 5 months. And that clock's been ticking for a while. And I think you could stretch it to 9. I said this to Doc Adam. I'm like, under normal circumstances, I think you're exactly right. But I think between Walter Reed and the White House, they've got all kinds of stuff they can jack him up on, give him steroids and all kinds of other stuff. And I don't mean anabolic steroids. I mean the kind that make you feel great even when you're, like they gave him during COVID.
Like prednisone, I feel like something like that.
Yeah, it's right. That he's clearly going to be on those things. It's when his neck bloats up like he's a fucking frog trying to mate. And, and then it deflates into his little, like, scissor nut that he has.
Yeah. I mean, you remember in Succession, season 1 of Succession, they give Logan Roy some sort of shot of something before he's supposed to speak publicly because he's just had a stroke. He's been incapacitated. And so they need something where he's alert and he's present and so forth and physically able to deliver these remarks. I forget, it was shareholders or something like that. But the problem is, you can only take so many of those shots before it really starts to do some serious damage. And so it's possible that he got some sort of thing on Wednesday prior to his primetime address that incapacitated him for days afterward. Like, it completely, once it left his system, I don't know what the half-life of something like that would be, but once it's no longer fueling him, there's the very real possibility of some sort of backlash physically. It's like blowback, but in his body, in his diminishing body. And so that is a possible explanation for why he disappeared all this time. Because if you notice, one of the things he was doing during those remarks that indicates either high blood pressure or some sort of serious cardio issue, he was having very labored breathing. Like, he couldn't catch his breath. It's like that thing that sometimes do, but younger people especially sometimes do, when you're nervous about talking on the phone or speaking publicly, and you take that deep breath, but you don't have a chance to exhale. And so you're just taking these little teeny tiny breaths at maximum lung capacity, and you start to feel faint and you start to feel dizzy. And so that may have been why he seemed like he was out of breath, because whatever medication they were giving him to pep him up was fucking with his breathing. He was so high on that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's this mix of stuff. Okay. So, I'm a big fan of, cognitive stuff and nootropics and that kind of stuff. And the idea that, you know, when my grandfather had Alzheimer's and my dad was always afraid of it. So I was always looking into things that you could use to like put off that kind of thing or help your brain, or, and supplementing with choline and that kind of stuff is very smart. Taking L-theanine so that you get the benefits of caffeine, say in coffee and other stuff, without the jitters, which is where, thank you for that super chat, Rock Tips. It's just smart. Your brain uses somewhere in the order of like 40 to 60% of the oxygen you take in. If you're not breathing well, you're not thinking well. And it's why I tell everybody, when you're on social media, sit up straight, because part of doom scrolling is crushing your lungs and all that kind of stuff. Well, when Trump gets on his little thing where he's on the podium and he's doing that like wrestling, or he's doing the back and forth, which is,
looks like he's behind the wheel of a big rig. That's how he's
right. Yes,
latched on to that lectern, like, big steering wheel.
Bluff tourney. Ale ejempla bluff tourney. I don't know if you've ever seen Quick Change, one of the great unsung Bill Murray movies. He's on a bluff tourney. Okay. Anyways, bluff tourney. So Tony Shalhoub, God bless him. Anyways, so there are things you can do that are for the general health: B vitamins, hydration, making sure you're getting enough of your that he's on a multi, that he's on that he's getting electrolytes or whatever. And then there are obvious augmented stuff that you can take that, there's been the cutting edge of this in the last 3 years. The Russians were really up on it. There's the Russians at one point were giving all their leaders one particular almost Pervitin-like compound, but without the stimulating effects, because that's what gets you. Okay. What they realized is that the thing that gave Hitler basically early onset Parkinson's was, and his hand was always shaking and stuff, is because they were jacking. He wasn't sleeping because he was a fucking lunatic. And so they had to like keep him awake. And you end up like Elvis, where, he's that whole like hunka burden love. His hand was not shaking on purpose in the later years. It was just, he was doing this all the time. Okay. So Trump, I don't know if you noticed it, the day before, his hand was doing this twitch thing. It was when he was giving out those Medal of Honor things or whatever, and he's standing over on the side, and his right hand starts doing this. Okay. To me, that's, I once, years ago, when I was on, I did Rogan's show once, and afterwards they gave me some of his Alpha Brain stuff. And so I tried it out, and it made my fucking face twitch. So I threw it away. I was like,
good move.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Like I was like Herbert Loam for an afternoon. I was like,
that sounds fun.
I was like, yikes. And so one of the things you got to recognize is that in a younger person, a jacked up bunch of energy drinks or whatever, you might be able to ride that out as long as you're physically active, eating well, and all these other stuff. But in an older person, you jack their heart rate up for a few hours just to get a boost out of something, that heart will take a fucking nap for the next couple of days, and they will be wiped out. And that's he likes Adderall, classically, which is a stimulant as well. He clearly, I mean, I'm sure he boogered one. Remember when he boogered a chunk of a crushed Adderall during the last campaign? That he clearly thinks he's going to the well too many times. And when he's taking speed related brain enhancement for these big things, it's going to knock him on his ass. There's just no way around it. And on top of that,
if you've ever done a full day of cardio, like intense cardio, even as a younger person, you need a good night's sleep to recover. I mean, ask any fitness expert. They're going to tell you, you need to sleep in order for your body and your brain to recuperate from that intense physical effort. And he's inducing that intense physical effort pharmacologically. Without
the physical benefit of exercise. Remember when you're a kid,
exactly,
you go
and then he's not sleeping. Yeah, and then he's
Yes.
not recovering because he whatever sleeps 4 hours a night or tries to, and that's partly because he's so jacked up from whatever he's taking. So, it's like it's this endless cycle, almost like Michael Jackson, where you need
Yeah.
this to wake up,
he-
this to go to
that-
sleep, or even Elvis is another great comparison, as
Yeah.
you were mentioning. Yeah.
Did you see him when he went to Graceland? Did you see the Graceland visit? Please tell me you've
Where Trump went to
Trump.
Graceland? Oh
Yeah.
God, how did I miss that? Holy
I
hell.
just chef's kiss.
I can't even imagine.
The biggest nightmare for Donald Trump in the world is having to stand there while other people talk about other people that are beloved, especially. Like people loved Elvis and he was, he like the tour guide woman is telling him all about the house and he's like, people like Elvis, she loves Elvis. He lived here, this is his house. Like that was all he could say because he just couldn't comprehend. I loved his big song. What was his big song? I love that big song. And they were like, Love Me Tender was big. And he goes, not that one. I had no idea.
Oh my God.
Nah. The one that everybody loves, I don't like that one very much. But he, him having to listen to somebody else praised I think that's what happens in hell. I think when Trump goes to hell, it's gonna be a statue garden full of people who actually did good things. And there's going to be a statue to Jimmy Carter and MLK and he's going to have to listen to people and even just people who are more popular than he is randomly. And he's just going to have to listen to the entire tour like for eternity.
Right. It just crushes him to know that there are more people, many, many more people. I mean, we're talking an order of magnitude more people who are beloved that were more beloved than Donald Trump and will always be more, that he'll be the least beloved. He'll be the most hated, most vile human being, at least in pop culture and political history in the United States. And he can't, he refuses. He's not wired to accept that he's just, that people see him as a toxic, terrible, corrosive human being.
By the way, I want to remind everybody, Bob Cesca Show. What's your regular schedule this week? Because I know I always get it wrong. So
it's
your
insane.
Regular life.
We do shows Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tuesday and Thursday, it's me and Jody Hamilton and David Ferguson. Wednesday is me and a guest. This week it's Driftglass from the Professional Left podcast.
Awesome.
One of our faves. Yeah.
Yes.
And then Trek Politics every Sunday at 6 p.m. at trekpolitics.com. Yeah.
See, he's nipping at the heels of how many program hours I'm doing a week, ladies and gentlemen. Bob Cesca is working
coming close. And
now
I'm doing a live stream now on Patreon.
Oh, right.
So
that's awesome.
So I'm doing that on Sundays because I just can't quit it. I just can't stop talking.
That's right. You complete me. So there, we are in, I don't know, whatever it is, day 35 of this horseshit. And and Trump said, I guess last week, well, it's going to be over like in 3 days at one point. And then later in the day, he said 2 to 3 weeks. So never mind the fact that he screwed up the difference between days and weeks. Again,
right.
Like if that was Joe Biden, that would be, they would be playing those two moments back to back in a loop on Glenn Beck's show and everybody else's show nonstop to show that he's got, dementia and all these guys would be going, oh, and whenever they talk about Biden, that kind of stuff, right? But with Trump, it's like, people have a slip at the tongue. He meant it. Or maybe he was negotiating, and that was early in the day. It was 3 days, but they screwed around, they fucked around and found out, so he changed it to 2 to 3 weeks. There's no fucking way. They're budgeted for 6 months. They're budgeted for 6 months. The extra $200 billion is the generals going, look, if you actually want to get any of this shit done, it's 6 months. And that is the midterms.
Yeah.
So my question to you, Bob Cesca, is he going to try and bail out of this early so he can say, we finished that, even with it still burning in the background like Gaza? We finished that. It's over. Our peace plan worked. We're blah, blah, blah. He'll negotiate with a fucking, gate guard and say he's spoken to the Iran leadership because who's really in charge? Move on
Yeah.
so he can claim, I solved this like nobody else solved it and focus on the midterms and that.
Mhm.
Or is he stuck just having to ride this out because it will either have to go back in between now and the midterms if he leaves early or whatever, and he's got to do you don't change a horse midstream, and if you don't come out and vote, the liberals are going to throw me in jail while I'm fighting the terrorists.
That's right. You know what? It could be either of those possibilities. I mean, I think if you look back at last year and Israel Hamas and the alleged ceasefire that was reached, I believe it was in October, November, that it
Right.
wasn't really a ceasefire. And
Nope.
the firing continues. And in order to have a ceasefire, you have to actually cease the firing, which has not been a component of the ceasefire at all. But
Right.
yet, the American news media keeps running with the fact and referring to it as a ceasefire. So that as a kind of a test bed for how the Iran situation could work out. Donald Trump could just say, okay, there's been a ceasefire. And Kristen Welker on Meet the Press will go, yes, there is a ceasefire. Here we are. It is now a ceasefire. And that's how the whole thing will be framed, even though, once again, the firing will not be ceased. It's like this whole idea, I think it was being floated late last week, where it was like, okay, we're gonna do a 45-day ceasefire, but we have the option of continuing to fire. And so they were just outright saying that. Like, one of the deals that's on the table is ceasefire, but with the option of continuing to attack Iran. So it's this phenomenal level of gibberish and deception that is happening. Another great example of that is the fact that there's really been no mention in the coverage of the downed F-15, the downed A-10. There was no mention of the fact that Wednesday night, Donald Trump said their anti-aircraft equipment is gone. I mean, he said, reading off a teleprompter, prepared remarks on primetime television, that Iran's anti-aircraft equipment is gone. A few moments later, as they say in SpongeBob, downed F-15 over Iran, and then a few moments later after that, downed A-10. Has there been any discussion over the fact? And so the press goes, well, this is him. This is what he does. He lies, and now he's lying about war. What are you going to do? So it doesn't get any coverage. But you can't take that kind of shit for granted, especially when American military personnel are in harm's way, and especially when we're talking about a conflict that could have long-term repercussions, not just for the region, but for the safety of Americans on our own soil. See also 9/11 and other terrorist attacks. So you can't just accept that Donald Trump is lying. You have to call it out constantly, as often as he does it, and not let him get away with it, especially in these kinds of circumstances.
Yeah. So there are a couple of direct experiential lies that it's going to be hard for them to shake. And I think one of the key ones, if I may, is this business right here. Let's see if this shows it on there. Oh, I got to bring you in there. I forgot. Beg your pardon. It'll be in just one moment. Bob Zeska appearing in the window. There you go. Is the crude oil price, for example, and this idea that it's just going to be fixed in a matter of, it'll go right back down once this is all over, which is another pile of garbage. And just absolute ignorance about how this stuff works and how jump-starting these markets again after the fact takes a lot, and especially when it involves, the retooling and then the cost of retooling your entire flow for a period of time, however long that is. The Saudis have started using their pipeline. They're maxing out at whatever, somewhere between 5 and 7 million barrels a day, which they would normally go through the Strait. And once that dials back, they're not going to want to chance this unless the Iranian threat is completely gone. So they're just going to keep that up, which throttles, the 10 or 12, 11 million output that they were having down to 7, right? For the foreseeable future. When, like, Trump declares this done tomorrow, does anybody actually think that the Saudis are going to go, okay, well, then boats and pipeline back up to normal right away. The boat, we'll just start sending our boats through the Strait again. Like, it's nonsense, right? Especially if it's a terrorist version of this, where they can't actually stop you. You know, they can't actually blame it on the Iranians, the regime itself, because it doesn't exist anymore. So terrorists in that area that are sympathetic, or even who were against it, that just hate the West, can sit down there and just take pot shots. The Strait, for all practical purposes, could be all but closed for good, but for some sort of like massive military takeover of the western shore of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much so. Good Lord. And this is not the guy you want governing or having some sort of purview over a situation like this. And one of the follow-on, I'm sure you've talked about this already, but one of the follow-on impacts of the Strait being closed is the very real potential of a food crisis inside the United States due to farmers not being able to afford a jacked up price of fertilizer caused by the bottleneck of the Strait.
Yeah. This was also a threat put forward about Russia as well. This was one of the hand wringings that we heard about Russia in that regard. And I will say that the potash threat is simply a factor of, it's like the Tylenol thing and the pain reliever and antibiotic thing with China. Like, we get 90% of our the reason we get 90% of our antibiotics and stuff from China, which we don't. It's closer to 60, but whatever. It's because they're cheap. It's not because you can't get them someplace else. We can buy them from Europe. There are plenty of sources, but they pay a living wage to their workers, and it costs more. So we buy it, our companies buy it sourced as cheap as they possibly can, and then bottle it and sell it to the American people. We get 90% from there because that's the cheapest price on the market. If for some reason, because of sanctions or something else, the price goes up, we'll buy it somewhere else. It's not that it doesn't exist. And the same thing is arguably true of potash, that Russia was the whole thing, like, Russia's going to shut down Ukraine's farmland, and if we don't give them what they want, and where are we going to get our potash from that we get from Russia that comes from their oil areas? The same thing's going to happen with Iran and what gets out of there. Now, China gets a lot of their potash because their farmland their arable farmland is just fucked. It's toxic now. Like, they import 80% of their fuel and food now. It's a nightmare. It's the dumbest thing. The idea that they're going to attack Taiwan and that's not going to cause an embargo, which would starve half their people in a matter of months, is stupid. So that's why they're not going to attack Taiwan anytime soon. But they just discovered under Biden, thank you very much, a huge potash deposit in Michigan, for example, that has gotten funding for the first time from the federal government, has continued from the rescue package, and which was it had a lot of environmental stuff in it, but that was included in there. And the Infrastructure Act had some stuff to like get our own potash, right? That kind of stuff, which we should be off the tit of all these other countries anyways. But it's going to affect the market for it because we don't have nationalized potash anymore than we have nationalized oil. So even if we still have access to it, the cost is still set unless the government under Trump, again, socializes effectively a bunch of this and does like creates a potash strategic reserve, right? By declaring that land, which again, if Biden or Obama did something like that, they'd be yelling communism every whatcha ways. It's fucking nuts. So I want to show you real quick the oil prices. So this is oil just went green again. So 111. It's up today. And it vacillates because, early in the day, people think it's going to be up, and then everybody doubts it, and they sell it. And this is all the day trading bullshit that goes on. But this is one-day trading. Here's 5 days. That's not good. This is 1 month. This is 6 months. And it all starts with the war. Like, it was humming along at a bad number anyways. Like, it should be cheaper than that just because there's a glut. And that's why it's there. Trump can't claim for, any reason for the low oil prices. It wouldn't matter if it was Trump or Kamala. The reality is that we are entering an oil glut because of the electrification of autos all over the West, especially, and largely China as well, because they import the fuel. So there's going to be too much oil production. There already is, but it's going to get to drastic, almost COVID levels sometime in the next 3 years. And that's why Trump was saying very specifically, I'm going to cut your fuel costs in half, because once we realize the oil, the fact that there's a glut, the price cuts in half. And they have to but they have to lower output just to buoy the price, which is what the Middle East has been doing. It's largely what Venezuela had been doing. It's largely what Central America had been doing, and it's kind of what our guys were trying to do. But there was always pressure from the administration. If you want leases, you better start kicking this shit out, because we need it to lower the price for everybody, because we run on it. We don't run on its profit. That's the difference between us and Saudi Arabia or Venezuela or something like that. We need the fuel to drive the cars, the trucks, and all that kind of stuff. So the lower the price, the better. But for the Middle East and stuff and Russia, you want where did this guy go? Oh, I see. Okay, never mind. There you go. My Instagram ends at the hour, so they're kind of being
I see.
Yeah. So there is, at this point, you're going to just see, like, has Donald Trump officially entered us into the era of not just big government, but gigantic government? Because the only way to dig our way out of this is government-driven spending in crucial areas. And what isn't a crucial area right now? Food, housing, fuel, and AI.
Mm-hmm. It's just incredible to observe this transformation of what used to be referred to as the conservative movement into modern MAGA republicanism, or however you want to define it, where it's okay to raise taxes indiscriminately and at the president's own discretion in the form of tariffs. At the same time, it's okay for a Republican president to start to buy interest in private corporations or publicly traded corporations. This is an incredible thing to observe. Maybe Donald Trump, well, I'm sure Donald Trump doesn't understand the ideological ramifications of doing things like this, but I guess
nobody's calling him on it
from a 30,000 feet perspective. It's Nixon to China. I mean, you could kind of, it took a conservative Republican or a MAGA Republican to be able to step over the line into full-blown socialism in some of these cases. Right. It's just, it doesn't make any goddamn sense.
And again, these, we run into this all the time, this kind of like, if only, if Biden, if Obama. But I mean, can you imagine like this idea that like, remember the picking winners and losers? Remember Solyndra and the whole like, the government should not be in the business of like, and then Trump is like, we deserve a piece of Intel's profits. This is how I'm going to patch the hole in my, and basically it's a backdoor tax. Let's be honest. Like his purchase of Intel ultimately is a backdoor tax on those companies, so that the Republicans can claim they are lowering taxes on these corporations, but patching the holes that it would cause through other stuff. And then on top of that, the whole, we can't afford daycare, all these things, Medicare, Medicaid, we can't afford these things. We've got defense spending. We've got one job, the military protection of the United States. And you're like, how in the ever-loving hell?
Well, that's, Hal, that's when Don Jr. and Eric started investing in drone, like janky fly-by-night drone companies that are starting to line up for defense contracts. So naturally, Donald Trump's going to start prioritizing defense spending above literally all else. And that leads us directly into the gigantic, enormous, unprecedented grift that is happening under everybody's noses right now.
I held you a little bit over, and I greatly appreciate you coming on the show, Bob Cesca. Anytime you're welcome back. Anytime you want.
My pleasure, man.
Yeah, and if you ever want me to drop by, I'm glad to do it. Return the favor.
Yes, absolutely.
The key things, the one thing I try to ask all my guests is, what's the one thing? Everybody has their specialty, nobody can watch all of it at once. And there's always a story that a lot of, each of us thinks that isn't getting enough coverage isn't getting enough awareness, something to watch for, something that's boiling under the surface that you don't see the news recognizing quite as much? Is there something that works your last nerve that people need to be aware of and pay attention to specifically right
Yeah,
now?
that's a really good question. I think the manipulation of the stock market has been
Mm-hmm.
something that I've been following since 2018, 2019, and it doesn't take any sort of mastery of pattern recognition to see the correlation between Donald Trump's pronouncements and the shifts in the market. When he started his trade war against China in 2018, beginning of 2018, the markets were rising rather steadily. You can actually see it if you look back at the
Mm-hmm.
Dow. And as soon as he started this ridiculous trade war with China, his trade war of choice, everything became volatile on the
Right.
market. So every time he was saying something positive, markets would climb. Every single time he said something negative, markets would drop. And only recently have people begun to start recognizing
Right.
that pattern has continued on and on and on. And it wouldn't shock me to realize or to learn that Donald Trump and all the people in his inner circle are all heavily invested in, crude futures, e-minis,
Oh yeah,
things that are definitely connected to his pronouncements about the Iran war. So it's
man. If
extended
you
beyond
know,
just tariffs
right,
and trade wars into actual war. And
if you
that's
know it,
that's something that definitely deserves more investigation. And I hope the
right,
Democrats, when they take back Congress, will open up serious investigations into
oh
insider
yeah,
trading, not only in the markets, but also in the prediction markets, which is another area that we're
right.
beginning to hear more and more about as far as insider trading and manipulation of those markets.
Yeah, I
So yeah,
think there
that's
was the poly market account that won 500 grand or bet 500 grand and won a bunch of money on when we were going to go into Iran the
yeah.
day before, like the night before,
Mhm.
maybe 3 hours before it happened. Certainly inside the decision window in the
Yeah.
in the room, obviously tied to Hegseth or Nutlick or somebody. I would argue that Nutlick and Besant are probably considering themselves safe from the investigations because they have so many shell companies and subsidiaries
Yeah.
and secondary investment structures that they can have plausible deniability. And as long as they're making a phone call and not putting it and it isn't recorded and it's not being put in in a record anywhere,
Mhm.
that, the other thing is that the White House can leak a story that's going to go the next day. And
Yep.
then that's the cue for the person that's in their companies to go, oh, I heard about this leaked story from a guy I know at the Washington Post. Whether they
Yep.
did or not doesn't matter because they don't have to give their source either. They can, I'm leaking a story to the Washington Post right now that we're going to attack and they're not going to carry it till tomorrow morning. But but as far as anybody knows, you could have heard it from them because you heard them
Yep.
say it at a bar. So they give themselves this cover shield. There's too many easy ways to do that. But Don Jr.'s a fucking moron, and he's going to get caught. And that's
Yes,
that's
he
why
is.
he's nowhere near the White House these days because his
Mhm.
job is to buy the dip
Yeah,
because
exactly. And remember, the boss has a lot of buffers, as we learned in Godfather Part 2. So there,
Mhm,
it's not directly Donald Trump calling Don Jr. and saying, "Yeah, buy a bunch of e-minis because I'm about to announce a thing," or short the market, short the S&P because I'm about to say some bad news here. It's
mhm.
that's not. There's a couple of hops in there. There's some kind of signal, I'm sure, to go all in one way or another. And the other story. Now we're talking about the grift. The other story
Yeah.
that I find utterly fascinating is the fact that Howard Nutlick's boys are investing on the failure of Donald Trump's tariffs through Cantor Fitzgerald, which is
Oh, yeah.
Howard Nutlick's, he divested from Cantor Fitzgerald, but his boy, it's like Donald Trump and Don Jr. and Eric. There's still a
Yeah,
relationship there. So
of
his boys are
course.
basically doing his dirty work
They still
by
drive his
betting.
investments, he's just not on the board.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in this case, his boys were trying to invest in there being a refund to American importers when the tariffs get overturned, which they did
Right.
using IEPA via the Supreme Court. So what they wanted to do was say, for example, you're an importer and you've already paid $10 million in tariffs to the federal government. And because the Supreme Court overturn the use of IEPA for tariffs, you can sue the federal government for a refund of that $10 million, but you may not win. So here comes Cantor Fitzgerald, Howard Nutlick's investment firm, to buy that refund from you sight unseen for $2 million. And then if it comes back that you win a settlement with the federal government for $10 million, Howard Nutlick and his boys keep the $8 million difference. At least that's my understanding of what they're trying to do. And it's basically like short selling Donald's tariffs, which I'm sure Donald has no fucking clue about. He has no idea that Nutlick is doing that sort of thing, undermining his signature economic policy.
That's also what I thought when you were talking about, like, you know, Don Jr. not actually having to hear directly. The reality is that Trump blathers so much that I'm sure he doesn't hold back when he's talking to Don, and Don has to go, what do you think? You think you're gonna attack or whatever? Yeah. And it's not him giving his son a heads up that he's going to attack. It's just Don's people knowing what that means financially and just acting on it, right?
Yeah, like those commercials messing with Sasquatch. They're just messing with the old man. They're trying to
just
worm
back,
information
give the thumbs up, and then I'm sorry you have to do that, Dad. Right? Like, right. That's all it takes.
Incredible. Yeah.
And it's not technically him tipping off his son to make money. He just won't shut the fuck up about stuff that his son doesn't have the clearance to know. And oh my God, the Joe and Hunter Biden stories that turned out to be 100% bullshit around Burisma, around China, $1 billion out of China, all that kind of stuff. All that just being fucking cover story for them to just do whatever they want once they get in, and going, you guys didn't care when Hunter was doing it, because he fucking wasn't.
Right. Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yep. That's it. That's what's that's what's going on. And the other thing I think about is why I go, there's a whole lot of discussion about why people even bother getting close to Donald Trump or working for him at the White House, knowing that there's a very real possibility that he's going to shit can them and then give them a crazy nickname and start bagging on them on Truth Central and all that stuff. Why would anyone do that to themselves? Why would Pam Bondi get that close? Because let's say it goes back to, I think there was a conversation during the Nixon administration. Like, why would you want to get close to Nixon? Well, the seats on Air Force One are really super comfortable, and I can't imagine going back and flying commercial again. So that's why I'm with Nixon, you know. But with Donald Trump, it's they're close to Donald Trump for the grift. They know that he's a geyser of cash, and all they need to do is climb aboard, risk that possibility that they're eventually going to be fired and bagged on or whatever. But it doesn't matter, because they will have enriched themselves at that point, and they can cry all the way to the bank about Donald Trump's nickname for them.
What do you think Pam Bondi's job in the private sector, that's also a government job, that's a better job, but also not inside the administration or in the government, but is also better than, but also what? Any idea? Because that just sounds like absolute gibberish. Just get the fuck out of here. I'll make up a story.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's certainly, I liked your theory about Pam Bondi. It had to do with the Epstein files, right? It was, I mean, the reason.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, I'm forgetting the exact details, but you posted on Blue Sky the other day about why Pam Bondi was fired, and it's not the typical analysis that's coming out of Washington.
Yeah, no, she first of all, that was her job, was to hide the Epstein files and all that stuff. That was her whole fucking gig. The reality, I mean, it's multi-tier, but everybody was like saying she got fired because she mishandled them, and it's not. It's just that she could not stop it, and he thought she could. He like, she legally cannot undo the law, and he's under the impression apparently that she can. You're my mob lawyer, you're Roy Cohn, what the fuck are you talking about? You can't just stop the release of the documents. Why did you let members of Congress come up there and notice that and find my fucking FBI statement where, you know, my lawyers talked to the FBI and I said I'd been there with my fucking wife at the house? Like, I'm sure he yelled at her like that, and she was like, Because you signed a law that says I have to, you dumb motherfucker.
Right.
I'm putting words in her mouth in that regard, but that's where she found herself. It wasn't that she screwed it up because she didn't release it, which is MAGA's sales pitch, and they're quietly allowing it be that he fired her for messing up the release of the Epstein files. They want that to carry the weight of by not doing it right or slow walking it or limiting it. They want to put that thought in the mind of maggots that that's why. But the real reason is because she let out too much. She didn't stop it. She didn't Bill Barr the Mueller report for him. She should have written a 4-page summary, which is what that memo last summer was. And that's it. No more. And then, fucking Bongholio's a sweaty mess about Epstein killing himself. Then what? So absolutely, like she again, the only reason she got the job was because his first choice was Matt Gaetz, and anybody is better than fucking Matt Gaetz.
I've been meaning to ask you, and if you need to kick me off, kick me off.
No, I don't.
If you need,
no, I'm glad to have you keep for the whole show. Yeah, no question. But I try to be respectful of my guests' time, because I can be yappity. So, but please.
Well, I got to ask you, there was something that I noticed about the Epstein files. Specifically, there was a whole series of PDFs that were released in the tranche of Department of Justice Epstein files, posted publicly on their website. And all of these PDFs, it's a whole series of PDFs. And I forget exactly what the search term is to land on these PDFs, but there's a specific search term. And then when the PDF comes up, do you know about the idea of changing the .pdf to .mp4, and then suddenly a video appears?
Yes.
And it looks like prison video.
Yes.
I wanted to get your take on that, because we've been trying to figure out like what that is exactly, what those videos are, and why they got posted as PDFs, where they're clearly not PDFs. It's just
the easy thing is that on your own server you can name a file whatever the fuck you want, and if you give it a different file name, make it an MD markdown document, it'll come up as basically binary text or a jammed tab delineated text mush. And if it's an image, you can make it so that you can't open it just by changing the image file name on it. Well, that's what they're doing. That's not an accident. They changed it. They're all listed as PDFs, even the image files, to keep them from being searchable directly, by movie, by video, or by image file. You can hide a bunch of shit that way, because it just shows up as blank. When you put it up as PDF, it won't load because your computer is having a hard time reconciling an MP4 file with a PDF, address. That's not an accident. That's on purpose. That's as much as they had 1,000 agents working on scrubbing Donald Trump's name from this, they had this as well. I mean, for fuck's sake, this is that's exactly what that purpose is. I'm
trying to find the actual search term. The search terms have slipped my mind, but you can check this out yourself. I'm just talking to people watching. It's utterly fascinating. And there are hours and hours. It's hours and hours of prison video. And I'm wondering if it's the corridor outside Jeffrey Epstein's jail cell. I'm wondering if that's the footage that we're seeing. And I'm trying to, that's what I'm searching for right now, is that search term.
I got a version of it up, or at least a story about it. So this how you change the file path and you can hide a file. It's essentially like, it's idiot hacking. So, this is just how you make it. They put any hurdle they possibly can put in the searchability of the documents or the viewability of images and video that they possibly can. And you'll also notice that in some cases, like when it included victims that included their faces, showed them, or documents about them, those were conspicuously not victims of this file path issue.
Yeah.
which is
Oh, I found the search term, by the way. You can search if
Yeah.
you go to the DOJ website, the Epstein files
yeah.
page where you can search, it's no images produced. If you search the terms no images produced,
Oh my
then
god.
it'll generate a whole series of PDFs. And if you change the .pdf to .mp4, it becomes jail cell video, which is crazy.
Right.
I've been trying to figure out like what specifically those videos are. And my only guess is it's outside Jeffrey Epstein's jail cell. But it's
okay.
it's unclear.
No, sorry. No
No images produced.
produced.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then you'll see okay, so what comes up, let's take a look. This is awesome. We're Bob Siska, investigative reports. So this is the let's just go straight to the first one here. And it'll open up this guy. And then we go up to the top here and we I back this up and take that off and I type in MP4 and see what happens. See if it actually loads it. Oh, page not found. Okay, so they're blocking it.
Maybe not.
Yeah. So hold on. Maybe.
Okay, the plot thickens because I have
Hold on.
verified this. This is an
Yeah,
actual
no.
thing. This is not
Yeah,
some
no.
internet bullshit.
Did you download it and do that?
No,
Or-
no. Just leave it in the browser,
Right.
and just change the extension from PDF to MP4.
Yep. So doing it again just to make sure I'm not messing anything up. And it's
No, they changed it. They caught on.
Yep.
I hate
So
to sound like Alex. They're onto us. They're onto us,
Yeah.
Al. They know the secret. They know the secret is out. So therefore, they are trying to cover up what no images produced actually hides in the ongoing cover up of the jail cell video of Jeffrey Epstein.
which, by the way, this whole part of it is the no images produced aspect of it, which you'll see on here, is a manufactured lie. So, for the record, what we do know about these things, whether we're seeing them right now or not, and somebody has already downloaded these, I would say, as the MP4s. The minute that happened, I'm sure they were all grabbed. There's been right now there are rippers going on this site day and fucking night. Anytime there's an upload or a change in the logs on the Epstein files, a scraper just grabs everything. So there's the Epstein Gmail website, like email or whatever, the Epstein mail site that grabbed everything and put it in kind of order and all that kind of stuff. This one was browser tools and URL manipulation became accessible to journalist methods. Okay, obviously all they did was
I just got it to work, Hal. I don't know.
You did?
What's
Okay.
going on.
Maybe it's
I just got the. I've got it up on my computer now. If you go to the very last, go to the last one. What is it?
Okay.
Data set 8 at the very bottom.
Okay.
Try that
All
one.
right.
That's
I'll try this
I
one.
just got it to work.
Okay, great. So we'll back up here and then 3 MP4. Oh, there it is. You're right.
That's it. Yeah.
Look at that.
So what the
My
fuck
end.
is that? That's definitely a jail.
Yeah. Okay. So that's an hour. That's the upstairs. Okay. So over here on in between the door and that little the banister and the little single line that splits the screen at that point. That's where the steps to Epstein's thing are in the background. That's the guard station. This is the only angle we've ever seen of the jail cell itself with footage going. So this is probably one of the hours of the however many, but unmarked as such, which again, also a violation.
Yeah.
Just by not saying what this is. I will say it's still, this is very magical, I will say. So we look at, now we got to look at another one.
Many more. There's a bunch of them
there's
too.
pages and pages and pages. Here's what we'll do. Let's just, because we do it, let's go to the last one. Data set 9, native placeholder, no images produced. Okay, so this one might not be one. This one may be one of those like nothing included things. Nope. Yeah. So that's probably what the other one was. Okay. So these say native. Any of them that say native placeholder won't do it. That's the trick.
Right.
That's the thing. Because these are those. This page intentionally left blank, right? Is a clear part of this. Yeah. Now, some of them will have some of that overlap, but yeah, I'm gonna guess that. Yeah,
there are videos with different angles and what appears to be a different location inside the jail.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yes, these are hours when the cameras did work of different places, not during the time that he was there and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, these are the paths where you're allowed to take a prisoner, paths where you're not. So when you take somebody out, they have to stay on the line, kind of shit. Yeah.
Wow.
Nobody don't step off the line. They don't go anywhere past this area. That you do that, unless it's an emergency, because obviously there's a fire exit there. So that's how they do these things. These are the stairs. These are the controlled stairs. This is the controlled elevator. This is the controlled door to wherever. I mean, and no markers on this shit on purpose. Like there should be a document that goes with this that accompanies it that says, here's the video in a PDF that's playable, and then the details about where it is, where this camera's located, the hours, all that kind of stuff. That's part of the law. That when you're logging these things. Now, I'm sure that they got around it by dumping over, into, there's another document tied to it, but you can't make the connection because they intentionally made it shitty on purpose. I gotta tell you, this is my nipples are getting hard like gnomes' husbands' balloons about this. I'm getting.
I've never been an Epstein death truther. I've never gone down that road before until recently, when I realized that not only are they covering up these MP4 files in the charge of Epstein files, but then also that 13-year-old that Donald Trump raped or allegedly raped.
Yeah.
That first interview with her took place the day before Epstein was found dead.
Yeah.
So that was that first FBI interview of
allegedly.
Was.
Okay. Allegedly found dead. Because here's my thing. If let's say, all right, Bob Seska, we're gonna do a thought experiment, you and I. And
all right, here we go.
Everybody needs to go do that. So go. No images produced. Understand that if it says native in the beginning of it, it will just be a placeholder document, and some of them will be this page intentionally left blank in a thing, so it'll just leave that. But if you go and look those up, and you'll see MP4s, and a lot of it will be just hours and hours of footage in single hour outlays. Which, by the way, this one, the one I was just showing you, by the way, is the check-in desk that shows this. Where is it? That the one I just stumbled on. Has one of the guards that got charged checking in at work. Oh, wow. And yeah, and not when they said they were. That's one of the things that was evidence in their trial. Not that guy, the bald guy. So I'm pretty sure that's the person in that. Just scanning by. Okay, so here's, let's delve into our sort of pop culture brains and all this kind of stuff and avoid any kind of, everything we're about to say falls under the envelope of alleged, because neither you or I have access to the real information anyways. So this is like when true crime podcasters take a deep dive into something that's just hinky, unsolved crime, that the official story or who they put in jail, the Innocence Project got somebody out, but nobody else went to jail for the thing yet. So who could it possibly be? A completely reasonable intellectual exercise by two guys
Escalation.
that have seen enough fiction based on reality and enough true crime to start going, if I may, right? Just one more question, if I may, ma'am. Right.
Yeah, it's bullshit. Yeah,
right. So I fall soundly in the camp that he's not dead. If I'm gonna pick a conspiracy theory, if I'm going to pick one, and that's what this is, that has no more weight on it. Like, I'm not going to, this isn't going to drive me to buy groceries, change my spending habits, my drive to work, or not showing up for court if I have to, because I'm like, you guys let Epstein out, so I'm not going in for a traffic ticket. Fuck you, man. I'm not doing that. This is all in the realm of, the unknown unknowns being what they are, that if I with the information that I have and the information I seemingly intentionally don't have access to, meaning that someone is cutting us off from this information, and the outpouring of information that keeps coming, like they had a dummy body go out the front. They've said this, made out of cardboard and shit. That's the story that they told, while they put him in something going out the back, which is not at all what fucking happened. There was nobody made a fucking rubber mask version of Epstein and rolled it out the front. You saw his face. We saw it, and the part that's always bothered me was that they were bagging him on the way to the ambulance. You don't bag a dead body. You don't bag somebody who's been dead for 2 fucking hours. You don't bag someone when the blood has already started to pool in their back, as it allegedly has, according to the autopsy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, knowing what I know about Bain and him injecting the doctor's blood in the guy that dies in the plane crash, to make it look like the DNA of the dead body that was barely found was probably the doctor.
Very painful, Batman.
That's right, yeah. I don't understand how I speak into a cup and yet my voice is somehow everywhere. I fucking...
Jeffrey Epstein's still alive, Batman.
Right.
If you were smarter, you would know.
You would think that. Yes. I've got to rest my hands on this weird half-cut shirt that makes me look like a breakdancer from 1984. Anyway. Okay, total side note. Have you seen the Pete Holmes Bad Man stuff?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Love
You
it.
now have my
Yeah.
permission to cry. Right.
Mhm.
First, I stabbed you first with my penis. Okay, yeah, we get it. Whatever.
Amazing. Yeah.
She is my love. I am her protector. That's weird because we didn't use protection. You son of a... It doesn't matter, right? Those things are so... I love Pete Holmes. The idea that a clean comic came up with some of the best dirty comedy we've had in years is hilarious. Anyway, so...
Yep.
I believe if I had to flip... If somebody, gun to your head, what do you actually believe? This is what I would say. Again, this does not affect my material actions in the world, and I still believe that there's a judicial system that functions. I'm not checking out of society and prepping because of this, but all the evidence seems to point to me that this dude paid the Russians and somebody who might be friends with the Russians who will take any money you give him, namely Donald Trump, $1 billion to hide his ass because he had compromise on the president of the United States and said, dude, I have a dead man switch. That's all it would take. So you're going to you're going to use every tool available in the U.S. government under the guise of national security to look the other way and twist this situation so that a bunch of Russian dudes posing as prison officials and other shit can sneak in a dead body that looks like me enough to pass muster and get me the fuck out of here.
That's right.
And I don't care if they fight over whether I hung myself or somebody strangled me, all the better, because the end result of that myth is always that I'm dead. If you believe he was murdered, if you believe he hung himself, both of those things require the logic anchor that he's dead, which is the perfect cover for somebody if they escaped.
That's right.
That's where
and
my brain
look, I don't have a specific theory on this, but what I do know is I refuse to give Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt. He has not earned the benefit of the doubt on fucking anything.
Right.
He is just a walking, talking cover-up. I mean, you start with his medical records and you start doing the list from there. And so this is someone who has made his entire professional career on bullshit. And anyone who's like, well, you got to take him at his word. Well, good Lord, I have some robot insurance to sell you if you're taking Donald Trump seriously. Jesus.
Well, that's, and that goes, to another part of this, like, who declared him dead? Ronnie Jackson? Like, at a certain point.
Yeah, right.
It's funny to me that the last detail that maggots seem to recognize, they seem to, remember about this, is that Donald Trump was president when Jeffrey Epstein died in jail.
Right, which Jesse Waters doesn't want you to remember. Jesse Waters has been making a huge effort every night to try to lay the whole 2019 thing on Joe Biden's lap, and which is just utterly absurd. It's like saying Barack Obama was responsible for Hurricane Katrina. It's utterly fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, and they try to lay this whole like it was Biden's DOJ that that did it, or fucking COVID for that matter, like Biden's lockdowns. And like, excuse me, like 14 days to stop the spread that went through the rest of the end of the year. And Donald Trump was like, it'll pass like snot on a banister. Off,
or that they're trying to make it seem as though it was Biden's DOJ that told SDNY and I think it was New Mexico to stand down their Epstein investigations. So it's like, no, that was Donald Trump. That was Bill Barr. I mean, good Lord. The revisionist history is clear and obvious.
It's the New Mexico government that's actually doing the scan of Zorro Ranch. It wasn't like Pam Bondi's DOJ with Kash Patel and Bongholio rolled in there on fucking day one right after Binder's Gate to show everybody they mean business. I mean, they could have done it because that place has been basically vacant, as far as we know, since Epstein's death and the basic cleansing of his space. Do you know the story about how he has a bunch of private detectives that were basically responsible for scooping up shit in his properties after he died, or in some case when he was incarcerated, before the actual raids, certainly on Zorro and a couple other properties that he has.
It was a bunch of hard drives, right?
Yeah, and those guys apparently still have them and are in negotiations to turn them over. But the DOJ didn't start this negotiation. The House Democrats did on the panel, on the committee, rather. And so yet another reason why it's all about the midterms, my friend. You want to see Donald Trump effectively have a fainting spell on live television where he just exit and flops. You wait till he loses the Senate in the midterms.
Oh, yeah. And that's, that fainting spell is not too far off, given the fact that he takes an aspirin the size of his head every day and that he's short of breath constantly. And that's on top of the cognitive decline, the fact that he's just not getting enough blood to his tiny, shrinking, plaque-ridden brain. So that's inevitable. At some point, he's going to stand up in one of these meetings, in one of these ass-kissing sessions, motorboat sessions in the cabinet room, and he is going to collapse because the blood is just going to drain to his swollen ankles, and that's going to be the end of that.
I keep bringing up my, especially after Trump went to Graceland, I keep bringing up my buddy Chris Bono's, my favorite joke of his, which is Elvis singing, "And so the end is near, and so I face the shower curtain." And because he died on the shitter, of course. And I gotta say, a 2 a.m. keel over on the shitter is not out of the question. I fear it though, because I'm not wishing this on him at all. But if it were to happen, I want it to happen in public. I want it to be abundantly clear that, that Hakeem Jeffries didn't push him down a flight of stairs, that he fell on his own, right? That's the thing. And it's a nightmare scenario if maggots think he didn't really have a stroke, they killed him. Like, dude, do you think, A, if they were going to do that, they'd have done it a lot earlier? And B, why would you wait till he'd absolutely wrecked everything to pull it off, right? For even us or the deep state or the neocons or whoever in the White House doesn't like him anymore, or whoever thinks they can buy the dip on his death, which I'm sure Nutleck and those guys are all game planning. Oh my God, to be a fly on the wall at their private dinners.
Right.
When he dies,
I'm on,
the money we're going to make.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'm on team incapacitation. I'm hoping for the fact that he's somehow unable to speak and move, yet he's fully cognizant of his condition.
Operation Admiral Pike.
Well,
He's going to be Admiral
Yes,
Pike.
exactly right.
They're going to wheel
In
him
the
around,
box
just
with the 2 lights. Yeah.
beep.
Mhm.
One beep means make America great again. You know,
The other beep is very, very tremendous. Yes.
yeah, very, yeah,
It's the most
tremendous. When
powerful
we're
beep.
doing
Yeah.
like somebody sitting there like fucking Matt McConaughey in Interstellar, just doing the fucking Morse code, and is like he just keeps saying tremendous over and over again. I think it's the only word he can
Yeah.
spell. Fuck.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Because then he's not martyred, 1, and 2,
Right.
it's the ultimate thing for a narcissist bully to be
Yes.
fully incapacitated, to be physically looking awkward, where he can't control his environment around him, he can't control his message, he can't control his legacy anymore, and but yet he's fully aware of all of that. That's
Right.
the thing I wake up every day hoping for, which I hate that I have to do that, but here we are.
Yeah. Well,
As a human being, you're like, dude, this is just the reality we're in. This, yeah. So this is like MS Now was talking about this on HuffPo or whatever. Vin Gupta was sharing a troubling view of the president's erratic behavior following his unhinged threat toward Iran on social media. I'm like, that's not the latest sign. But he goes erratic, can't finish sentences, often confused, illogical train of thought, word finding difficulties. Word finding? He couldn't find his fucking wife, and she's in his peripheral view. That was the part that drove me crazy about that one. It wasn't like she was standing back there. Again, something that they shit on Biden for doing. Both his wife and his sister were 6 to 8 feet back behind him on the stage. So looking back to find out where people are is not weird at all. Donald Trump misses people who were sitting right next to him at the flat tables. People you could, if you've just been looking left and right, you've seen their faces 3 or 4 times, just in looking back and forth, just in making remarks. You were talking to somebody right there a second ago, you'd have seen the person pass them. And again, unless the other thing is that he's fucking blind now as well, that his vision is so bad.
That is a possibility. Like his peripheral vision is going, and he wears glasses. He just doesn't wear them in public. Yeah,
that's why he reads teleprompter.
He can't save his life when it comes to reading off a teleprompter, where he can barely make out the word.
I'll show you why. It's like one word at a time. It's like this, like worsening gradually. MS Now Doc spots all the signs of dementia in Trump. Dr. Vin Gupta shared a troubling overview of the that's how he reads. And it's because the fucking they're this goddamn big. I think I'm maxed out. I think this is the biggest it can get. Yeah, it just won't go any larger. Right. Yeah, but that's clearly what's happening. Like he's one, maybe 2 words at a time. That's why he can't put the narrative together in what he's reading most of the time.
Mm-hmm. He just runs words together. I mean, Wednesday night was just an utter disaster when it came to. He's terrible at reading off a teleprompter, but Wednesday night it was especially bad, where he was running words together and then he was short circuiting on a bunch of those words and pretending. Like at one point he said leave instead of believe, and then he was trying to rationalize the fact that he said leave by retconning the fuck up, and it's just once again another goddamn disaster.
Yeah, they're leaving and even leaving and be leaving, and they're also be leaving. It's like Bermismia. That's they say pronounce it Bernismia. Like he just randomly.
Yeah, and there was
nobody
another
ever told
thing
you
that he did. Yeah, there was another thing that he did in the cabinet room. I think it was a week ago Friday, where he was talking. I think he was talking something to do with the mayor of Chicago, and then he went to say what I believe was mayor of Illinois, but it came out no, not mayor of Illinois. I think he meant to say governor of Illinois, and it came out governor of Philly Dilly. At least that's what it sounded like he said. Which I got a whole debate going on my Instagram right now as to whether he said Illinois or Philly Dilly. I'm team Philly Dilly. That he said governor of Philly Dilly, which sounds like the name of a McDonaldland character, Mayor McCheese, Hamburglar, and the governor of Philly Dilly. Serving up the tastiest.
Getting low blood sugar, right? And he just needed to say it. So he did a video last week that I covered about the dream of home ownership. And let me show you real quick.
Their donors on Wall Street, and frankly, for the benefit.
Hold on. I'm going to show you something, because this is officially, I think, the first Whoops, it should be on the wrong. I beg your pardon. Hold on one second. I'll copy it and put it in my other browser so we can look at it here. The officially, the first use of AI patching on one of his videos that we've seen. So
Housing community.
yeah. So I'll show you. Watch for the word lenders. And this was the one where he was like speaking as fast as I'd seen him. It was like, it seemed like something from, like he was 5 years younger. Okay, well, he could have been gacked up on something. He never does one take nails it ever. So especially on these things that he's just doing as promo pieces, they stitch these things together with AI, and I would argue it's entirely AI. All of it. Like they used, one of the signs is the pen that's sitting on the table by itself rolls over at one point as if he did multiple takes and it was moved.
Wow.
And so the AI fixed it by, transitioning it so that it moved from one thing to the other. Watch this real quick. Hold on. Here you go.
Banks were offering mortgages. Today, that number has been slashed by more than 50%, largely because of burdensome, unnecessary regulations that radical liberals imposed on community lenders for the benefit.
You see that?
Yeah. That's either AI or they took another take of him saying lenders and took the audio and placed it over the video of him fucking up the word lenders.
Yeah, so, well, it's also the way he had that and he never got it right, and they used it to scissor it together.
Radical liberals imposed on community lenders for the benefit of their donors on Wall Street and, frankly, for the benefit of themselves. The result was less competition and higher mortgage rates for hardworking Americans.
Also, look at his fingers. Look at his knuckles. And do they look like he's tapping, or do they look like his fingers are squishing?
The result was less competition and higher mortgage rates for hardworking Americans like you. That is why under my order...
Yeah, it's on when it's much bigger. If you blow it up full screen, his fingers look like there's no bones in this part of his finger. They're just mushing. You know how that happens sometimes where it creates a rubberizing effect. And if you look at his pinky right there, it's just so folded under. There's nothing. And he's got like fucked up hands anyways most of the time. But if you'll notice, it just disappears. And when he puts his hands there, it's like the bones are squishing. Not that it's pushing the fingers down, but it's just mushy. That's why I think there's like a ton of signs that this is really, the best,
eliminate
the state of the art AI, but still AI.
The thicket of unnecessary rules and restrictions that crippled community banks. They've been hurt so badly. We're bringing them back. When more local banks start off.
Okay, so I talk a bunch about, on Friday AI, which I would love to have you on sometime too, to just talk about these kind of things. But there's the example I use is this girl, Julia McCoy. This isn't even the best one, but she's an influencer. She runs a company that helps companies do their, adapt to AI and that kind of stuff. Okay. And, here's her channel. I'll show you this real quick. This is her channel. Let me show you one of her videos just real quick. I'll grab one that's, here you go.
It's 2026, and we're talking about actual robots doing actual work in actual factories doing back. I'm going to tell you all about it in today's video. Hey, if we haven't met, I'm Dr. McCoy, Julia McCoy's AI clone. Julia McCoy is the founder of First Movers. She personally researches and writes every script you see me share on this Tand Intelligence. First Movers.
This is her actual, her AI bot that she made.
Other robotics company on the planet. They didn't just build another impressive robot. They built the first humanoid robot production lines every single year, heading straight into Hyundai factories where they'll be doing real jobs alongside real people. Let me explain why this is completely different from all those Chinese robots.
So the idea that the president of the United States doesn't have access to this technology is fucking dumb.
I mean, there are myriad possibilities for this insofar as the Iran war goes. I mean, there's an
Right.
entire school of thought where he could either carry on the war or end the war and use AI as evidence of whichever way he turns. There's certainly the very real possibility that they're putting out AI videos of Donald because they're so. And I think one of the maybe that splice that we were just looking at a second ago, that may have been connecting two AI files together because don't some of the
Benefit
AI
of their
platforms have limits? They have like time limits on the amount of video
His
that it'll
wouldn't.
output.
His
Oh,
would
this
yes.
wouldn't? Okay.
Like the only reason you have limits on that is because of access to the servers. The White House will have, I guarantee, more than likely Grok or using CDance and having what's called a corporate or enterprise access to it. I'm sure they have, think about what the government has access to. Holy shit. That any ChatGPT, Sora-like model or VO, any of those, they have their own access to a pure version of it because of the contracts the Defense Department and the White House has. There's a reason why he's had, you could argue that all of these dinners he's had with people, like Sam Altman and that kind of shit, and they're, Larry Ellison and all these guys, is to have access to effectively a way to manufacture propaganda like this, even in the case that he's in a fucking coma.
Yeah. I mean, you remember that there's that series of outtakes, and I think it was from the transition period between the 2020 election and 2021, the inauguration. So sometime in that Biden transition period of time, Donald delivered remarks or a series of remarks from, I believe it was Mar-a-Lago, where he was doing, and it might have also been the White House. I forget exactly the setting, but he had to do take after take, and he was getting irritated and slamming his fist on the lectern. And so that's a good sign as to how he behaves when they're trying to shoot these things, something that we don't normally see.
And
so it'll be a lot easier for, it would be a hell of a lot easier to avoid that entirely, to avoid walking into that Donald Trump propeller if you're a White House staffer, and just do it with AI. So you don't need to go through the take after take and him getting pissed off and seeing a dog with a puffy tail walk by and getting distracted by that. And, it's a lot easier to just fabricate it and then stick that out there.
Yeah.
Especially when you have a compliant audience that'll believe whatever you release.
The irony that he's talking about Biden and AutoPen when he obviously is doing like auto video, auto addresses. That's what this is.
Even the quality of that, just looking at that, the still of that looks AI-ish to me. The soft focus behind him, that's something that AI often inserts in these kinds of shots. Yeah,
the other sign you can watch for,
very suspicious.
The other sign to watch for is that he updates his hair color on the regular. Sometimes he's more blonde and some days it's blonde and some days it just isn't. Like right now, it's super blonde. Like he had it redone for Easter. Or while he was in the hospital, they did his hair, so it looked like he was just in for his, nut tightening and makeover or whatever. But he's pretty gray in this one. And the thing to watch for will be earlier in the day when he spoke to the press, and then he does one of these videos and it comes out later. What's his face and his hair and his makeup look like? Does it look the same as it did that day? Does he's obviously covering his hand, and he's going to do that. That's now part of the algorithmic design of this. You're going to just see the same kind of thing, and it'll do the same knocking on the table for certain words, and it knows it can decipher that 3-syllable words or difficult emotional words. He's going to knock on the table because he can't gesture, which is when he used to do this. That's the new one. Right, it'll pick up on that. The point where the pen rolls over was sort of like apropos of nothing at one point. And let's see if it happens. Back it up. Yeah, there you go. So,
which is down almost $5,000 since I took office. I'm very proud of that.
Oh my God. You know what? That reminds me of those videos on Instagram of people getting freaked out by the moving baby doll that's sitting next to them on the couch, and there's someone with a string behind moving the doll, and they get freaked out. Yeah, it's like we just saw a ghost move his pen.
Yeah. Yeah, watch this. Ladies and gentlemen, I have magical powers. I can project, astral project into the White
The
House.
mortgage is down almost $5,000 since I took office. I'm very proud of that.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah.
It's
And
all
by the way, what's
AI.
going on? Whenever I look at something that's potentially AI, I always look for the flaws, like,
Yeah.
where there's an extra finger or something like that. There's that flag behind him. Is that flag supposed to be in that permanent blowing by the wind, like blown by the wind pose? Is that
Yes.
like
Yeah, that's a
sculpture of a
it's
flag, or is that
Iwo
an actual?
It's an
Okay.
Iwo Jima one. That
Oh,
one's going to
got
stand
it.
out.
All right.
What you would watch for in those is occasionally the words will be off or the people in the pictures behind him will change. Now, what I think
Yeah.
is
Just
they're
looking at-
probably doing a hard cut inside a real photo from the image. So instead of doing the
Mhm.
whole image and allowing for AI to get fucked up and spell army with 2 M's, what they'll do is, Navy and turn the N upside down or something like that. What they'll do is
Yeah.
literally box cut him out. It's only generating the area directly around
Yeah,
him.
it's like rotoscoping. Yeah.
Yes, and then they'll rotoscope after the fact, so that
Mhm.
he's rotoscoped, and then anything outside the chair and his elbows and the top of his head, there can't be any shifting going on, because there's also another moment in it where the perspective on the background shifts. So there's a moment like
Yeah.
it's like the background comes a little closer and then backs off. So that's they
Mhm.
might have done effectively a wash on it to
Yeah.
make it fit or whatever. But like again, the
down
pen
almost
itself.
$5,000 since I
Just watch
took
it.
office. I'm very proud of that.
What the fuck is that?
Oh, wait, do it
Just-
again. Do it again.
Yeah. Watch
The
the thing.
mortgage is down almost $5,000 since I took office. I'm very proud of that. I also signed an executive order.
It just rolls. And
The-
it could be so AI will go, what's the last frame? What's the next frame? We're trying to slap these two things together.
Yeah.
So in the next take, the pen had rolled a little and he fucked that up and he got maybe 8 words out. And you do the rest of it. He just came in and freeballed it, fucked it up, and then it's good. We don't have to put it out. And then they ran it through all the AI tools and showed it to him. And he's like, that's great. And that's it. And he's
Yeah.
not going to notice, and they're not going to fucking notice. But in between takes or other variations of it that they did, they didn't recognize that the pen was different. And AI will it will have to make sense of it. Why is the pen
Yeah.
position different? So it'll make it roll even if nothing triggered it. And you can't make his hand go like that without
Yeah,
it
so
being obvious.
normally what would happen if they're taking multiple takes and assembling them
Mortgage
together
rates.
in order to make
Yeah.
it seem seamless, what they would normally do, and this is with traditional video editing, they would cut to a tighter shot, or they would
Yes.
take the video image and enlarge it to look like they were doing a more close-up style shot to disguise the switch over between 2 takes, right?
Right.
In this case, they're not doing that. And if this was a straight up video edit, they would have done exactly what I was just describing, gone to a tighter shot or pulled back to a wider shot to disguise the edit. But this is some sort of weird smoothing over of the transition between one shot to the next. Yeah.
Also, they may not jump in, to jump in past the pen might be too close for the quality they made it at, and
Yeah.
his teeth get fucked up or something else occurs that they can't remedy right now, or that it becomes he gets that like AI magic skin. Now, Dance 2 has fixed a lot of those things, but not all of it. And especially the more persnickety you get about it, if they had a team working in there that was working on every aspect of it, they could solve all these things. You wouldn't know. If you had 5 to 10 people working on this, my guess is they have 2, because shame, ego, and other shit will keep them from, allowing more people to know about this.
Right. And the bottom line is there's no way he gets through one of these in one take. No fucking way.
Right. So
they're hiding something with this.
Yeah. And his whole like lenders, right, that kind of stuff is, and then he does the thing where he signs it and holds it up and he's like, I'm going to sign it right now. No auto pen, blah, 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 blah. And you could again, So he did. My guess is he signed it for real. This is probably the closest thing to the real shot. So everything's based on him actually signing this thing.
Yeah.
And he fucked up the rest of it. And they made it up. He's like, I'm just going to sign a thing for homeowners. Have a nice day. And as far as he knew, that's all they shot. The rest of the statement,
that could be any document. That could be any single executive order. There could be nothing printed on that page. And they've got basically stock footage of him signing his name that they could train an AI on. So it would be very easy to fabricate even that. And again, we don't see the details on the page. So who knows what the hell that is he's signing.
Let's see if I can I scan this in? Yeah. So watch his fingers on his writing hand. Look at his
Ooh, there was
middle
one
finger.
weird thing in there.
It's when they get close to the paper, it lightens up so much that it's almost like it's reflecting the sun off of it. And it's right specifically the knuckle. Like it's
and there's some shape distortion.
Yeah.
In his ring finger and pinky finger, it seems.
Yeah. Horseshit. Like
Yeah. It's that's very typical of AI, where it looks normal at first glance and then gets crazy once you start to look at
his
the
ring
details.
finger with the the higher, like the next knuckle over the other thing.
Yeah.
Like maybe we spotted another one there. The pinky on his left hand when he does this. Let's see if I can catch it. Watch the hold on. Oh, I got to scan it over here. Sorry. Watch the pinky on his left hand when he picks the thing up. It just disappears there for a second. It goes watery.
Or it seems like two fingers merged together into one finger.
Right.
Oh yeah. It looks like it looks like a
It just fuzzes out.
Disappears.
Yeah. Right there. Like it just I keep just missing
I'll try 2 frames before that. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see if I can scan it back. It's right at that. You see it right before that moment. Yeah. His finger just vanishes. Oh, look at the grab of the jacket. Watch the fingers grab the jacket. Do you see that?
Yeah. Yep.
That's fucking fake. That's amazing. Watch it again. The lip of the jacket. I'll see if I can even upscale it even more.
Does it leap into his hand?
It goes like this, and the jacket looks like it's CGI or something. Watch. See that? Yeah. So it looks like they it's that standard AI, not hand not going into the pocket. It's the same shit with Netanyahu that they were talking about.
Yeah, now I want to frame by frame that in my editing software.
Yes.
See if I can land on that exact frame outside
I don't doubt you can, but they've got to, here's the other thing. Like they got to know that we're watching this shit.
Yeah. Well, see, they don't need to impress us. They don't need to convince us. All they need to do is convince, and the easily convincible, the people who think that he's the only one telling the truth and everyone else is a liar,
Wait a second. Watch his wrist in his sleeve. Watch it. You see it stretching in and out
like his forearm is pulling out of the sleeve.
Like stretching. It's more than just like the cuff is rock solid. It's not moving in that regard. It goes up and down, but his arm goes in and out of it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
There should be some follow-on moving of the fabric when his arm.
Look how wide it is right there. What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
It's like fucking cavernous.
Yeah, it's like a bad head replacement in like a movie in the 90s before they had the technology down.
Yeah, Gladiator, right?
Yeah. Or like when Mark Ruffalo's head pops out of the Iron Man
Oh my God.
body in
I hate
Infinity
that.
War.
I'm
Yeah.
like, you guys rushed that shit. I'm so
Yeah,
disappointed.
right.
You guys are so screwed now. Whatever the line that he,
Right. That's it. That's the line.
And I was like, that looks terrible. Everything else looks so fucking good. You couldn't do a one last polish on that. I'm sure it drives them
Yeah.
crazy.
Next time I'm on, we got to do the Zapruder footage, Hal.
Dude, there's gonna be Zapruder footage. Now, like I said, I'm not wishing this bad on anybody, but like, I was of the opinion when I first watched this, when I showed it to everybody, I was like, they're scissoring together bad takes with this shit. But now I'm more convinced than ever that they are crafting this from fucking scratch. That they're just gonna fucking hammer these things out, especially these promo related ones with nobody else in the room. Remember, normally he gets handed the fucking EO by the guy who explains to him what's in it. Now he's just, and he was just banging this out. Like, I was like, this is oddly good for how he speaks nowadays. And
one thing I've noticed, and I can't, one thing I've noticed in the 30 years I've been working on the internet, I can't believe it's been that long, is whatever new technology emerges, internet technology, some form of video streaming or what have you, porn always gets first dibs on that stuff.
Sure.
So you always see porn reflecting the latest, greatest technology that may not have made its way to the general public yet. It's very, very possible that they have access to the next generation video AI that no one else has access to right now, but which also happens to exist through the same process you were describing earlier with their relationship with all of these tech bros. And so that's a very distinct possibility. And quite honestly, the video AI, the state-of-the-art video AI right now is almost entirely indistinguishable from actual video. I mean, it's going to put, you know what it's going to do? It's going to put the funny animal videos out of business because the AI generated animal videos are just going to dominate. You can't top an animal video generated by AI that is so absurd and outlandish that you're like, and it looks real, that, people actually shooting their animals with their camera phones. That's old hat. That's not, they're not going to be able to compete anymore.
How are you going to have a cat that meows vaguely like mom, meow, like that, and people, oh, that's cute, to 100,000 of them going, I go outside. My cat sounds like it says he wants to go outside. Like, you can fake it so much. And like Summer said something the other day. She showed me like a dancing AI cat thing, and she goes, I know it's fake, but it's just, it's cute. It's funny. And I was like, that's it. That's how it works. Like, Rob Glenn, on Friday Eye with me is always saying, it's good enough for 99% of people. Most AI right now that's available is 99% of the way there. It really doesn't need much more to change the world.
Yeah.
And it's just going to increase more, over this over the next bit. The next time we talk, we'll talk about that stuff, but also, I would love to discuss kind of AI and the extent of it and your experience too. That would be another hour. So we're at the end of the show. We're over by 12 minutes anyways. I'm very happy that you stuck around for the second hour. That was fantastic.
Oh, my pleasure.
And without
This
it,
has been great.
I attribute you, sir, diving into that Epstein stuff to us finding our way to proof positive that Donald Trump's last video about helping American citizens achieve the dream of home ownership, which, by the way, it was even the fake EO he was signing was bullshit, was completely fabricated. I think we can rest on that. So even more reason to stand by my belief that Epstein is alive someplace. So,
all right. I'll be watching for more evidence of that,
dude,
for sure.
Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you. And,
my pleasure, man.
Have a great week of shows. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and of course Sundays for your secondary live stream for your Patreons. It's is it patreon.com/Bob Cesca Show?
Yep, that's it. Or just bobcescashow.com. That'll get you there too.
Get you to the links and all that kind of stuff. Awesome. Yep. Well, thank you, my friend, and I will see you again real soon.
You bet. Thank you so much. We'll see you again next time.
Excellent. There he goes, ladies and gentlemen, our dear friend, Bob Cesca. Just what a great addition to the show this morning, and so much stuff to talk about. But I like the diving in to that home ownership thing, which I'm very proud to say I spotted the AI on early. You're welcome. But looking deeper into it, thanks to the keen eye of Bob Seska, I'm now convinced more than ever that all of these are AI. If Donald Trump is alone in a room giving a statement and there aren't other witnesses that they'd either have to cajole, blackmail, smear, or frighten into keeping their mouth shut, just count on it being a complete AI avatar. I'm just telling you. This is how it goes. Yeah. So, anyways, much love to you guys. I will see you guys later on this afternoon. Let's see. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. And let me see if I've got outro music. I think I should, by God. In here somewhere. I didn't move. Yeah, there it is. I forgot to move a bunch of my songs to the, let's see, where are we? This guy right here. Go to this guy. Hello. And I will see you guys this afternoon. Take care of yourselves. Oh, by the way, this afternoon, if Carl is available, I would love to try and get him on, because part of the show tonight, at halfway through the show, the astronauts will be the farthest they have ever been from Earth. So we're going to cover that live this afternoon as well, because unlike the Trump administration's videos, this is real. We're really on our way to the moon. So, and we're going to be, clearing around the outside very soon. This page not playing. Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm just going to screw it. I'm just going to download that sucker and put it in my little thingamadodger. Hold on. And then I can sign off properly like a decent human being. Let me check our, it's so exciting. OBS seen on the new stream, set up an image window is in the middle one. They're just window likely 2 mic inputs, creating dual. Sorry about that. Oh, my bad. I'm working on it. Here on the excellent. Thank you, Andrea. That's fantastic. Okay, date last received. There we go. Why is it downloading? What's he doing? Oh, I see. I'm not in downloads. That's my silly part. There we go. Think. Put this in here, and one more. Put this guy in here, and then I should be able to play this. It's fun writing these things. The tools available to real songwriters are getting so much better. Called Downside Out.
Wall still warm with a ghost of us. Name in my mouth cuts too much. Half a thought and it folds in two, like a bruise leaves a mark on you. Don't hurt in my shaking hand. Know something I don't understand. Like ghosting at the edge of me. Something there that I just can't see. Just me. Downside out, downside out. I need to go where I don't belong. Downside out, downside out. I need to go where it feels so It's the same sad song, empty space that was here all along. Every step is a borrowed shape, every second a vain escape. Laughter crying out for sin, summer stealing the autumn wind. There's a face that I almost know through a window where I won't go.
It doesn't like it when I try to do graphics. It speeds the music up. That's funny.
Downside out, downside in the things I do, in my hands, in the way I speak, in the cracks when I try to sleep. And you sit like you always did, never answer, just nod your head. If I reach, do you disappear?